we'll still see a little bit of disturbances within the supply chain, driven by some, some shortages here and there. But if I compare that to some of the turbulence that we saw in 2022, it will be much less. There was really two things in 22. One was the semiconductor shortage, of course, which was much more prevalent than it is today. But the second thing was the COVID lockdowns in China. And when you lock down a city like Shanghai for the best part of 2 months, and we have a large supply base in and around that city, then of course it starts to disrupt production globally. So that was actually the COVID lockdown was actually a bigger disruption for us personally than the semiconductors. So this year much more healthy, and you can see that by the amount of production that we're getting through the factories in the early part of this year.
How is the business in China doing? How is your business doing? And what's your read on the overall strength of the Chinese economy?
Yeah, so our business in China is doing well. As I say, globally we have high demand, but it's a very different landscape in China. You have a lot of new, and we saw that at the Shanghai Auto Show, which was a great point in time where we could actually look at some of those new brands. So we've seen a lot of new fully electric brand or what's called NEV, new electric vehicle brands, popping up in China. And that causes it to be somewhat turbulent and a little bit chaotic within that market as people fight and jockey for a position. Most of those customers or most of those companies are small start-up companies, and they don't have the same brand strength or the same presence or the same distribution network and dealership network as we do at Volvo. But it is a very different landscape, and I think it will probably take a year to 18 months before we really start to see that normalise again. But we're in good shape. We have our plug-in electric hybrid cars in China, as well as our BEV cars in China, continue to attract high demand. So we're positive for the future in China.
How should we think about competition from some of these Chinese EV startups on a global scale moving forward? There's certainly a group of people who believe that China is going to emerge as the dominant player in EVs.
Yeah, I don't subscribe to that. I think that will take a long time, partly because it's a very different landscape in China for China, where it's a different ecosystem, different cloud-based architecture, in some cases different software and so on. When some of those Chinese brands come in and they have to compete in Europe, and I'm talking about the premium sector here more than anything else because we operate in the premium sector, but when they have to compete in Europe, they've got to compete against brands like us and some of the other stronger brands in Europe, and I think that will prove more difficult for them to be successful in Europe and in America than it will be for them to maybe be successful in China. So I don't subscribe to the fact that a lot of the Chinese brands will come and start to dominate globally. Certainly not at this point.
Hi, I'm Joanna Bersecci, and thank you for watching. You can check out more of our videos by clicking on the boxes on the screen. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more from CNBC International. Thank you for watching.